So, hunting for yellow mushrooms. What do I find but some white mushrooms? You can probably see them there. That's typical. They grow up through moss and twigs and stuff. 2 or 3 nice big mushrooms are there. To pick through the moss to find them. Okay. So a little bit about mushroom ID, and don't take my word for it, but because I'm not a mushroom expert, but I do know chanterelles really well. So there we have a kind of a deformed cap on a white one, or I mean a yellow one. I don't know if something took a bite out of it or what. And then the white ones almost always have deformed caps, almost never the perfect mushroom shape because they grow under moss and pushing up twigs and limbs and stuff. Turn that white one around there, yeah. So this, turn sideways, yeah. This is what you're looking for because there's other white mushrooms in the woods. But these chanterelles, you see how the gills are just, first of all, they run down the stalk and they're attached to the stalk, and they're also kind of fleshy with wider spaces in between them. Zoom in a little tighter so you can get a good look at that. Then on the yellow one,
same thing on the veins, or the gills.
Gills are the same. So there's a lot of white mushrooms, a lot of orange mushrooms in the woods. These gills are a pretty good giveaway because these darn things, they grow in actually a lot of different shapes and sizes, and so really get to know your mushrooms before you start eating them. But this is just kind of giving you an idea what to look for. So we're going to continue the hunt. We probably got about 25 pounds yesterday and filled up the dryer and canned a bunch, and I think by the time we get home we're going to have some more room in the dryer, so we're not out to make a huge haul today. But one thing about mushrooms, when you know they're up, that's the time to look. And actually when I left yesterday, I left a bunch of mushrooms, a bunch of these white mushrooms that I had a full bag. I couldn't possibly get any more in there. Plus it was pouring rain and I was absolutely soaked, so it was time.
Me too.
Time to go anyway. We were about a mile from the truck when I found those. So anyway, we're going to carry on here, see what else we can find. Spotted this beauty here. It kind of caught my eye. Nice big yellow, a white chanterelle. You look just behind him. See another one. Come closer. Right there. That's what you usually see. A little bit of white pushing up a bunch of needles and dirt on top of them. Rinse them off and they're just fine. This beauty here, same thing, pushing up a bunch of stuff. And over here, we got more. And a big beauty right over there too. So, yeah, looks like it's going to be a good day. Okay, so a minute ago I saw a couple chanterelles. Well, one thing you'll come to learn about chanterelles, if you find one, there's generally more in the area. So I took a few more steps. These things are hard to pan in on. Hard to find. Let's say zoom out. Oh, there he is. I see this. Nice. But wait, there's more. They're really thick, and they come up through the moss and the twigs and the dirt and the needles. And so when you're looking for the whites, which is mainly what we're finding today, slow down a little bit and look really closely. There's a lot of stuff in the forest floor that's light colored, but if in doubt, check it out. Every now and then you'll find something like this. And these whites usually don't grow in great big groups like the yellow ones do. More often you find scattered small groups, but then small groups, a lot of small groups. So like yesterday, we filled up 2 of these mushroom bags pretty easily, just from going to small group to small group to small group. And so this is a pretty good start right there. And close to half a bag of these, mostly whites today. Nice. We had them for dinner last night. They were really good. Tried some, canned some, so we'll be eating them all winter long. And according to some folks, they're fairly high in vitamin D, which is really hard for us northern people to get in the wintertime. So this is a good natural source of vitamin D, which is kind of cool. There's a real pretty one right there. There's actually several mushrooms right here. Look at this guy. It's a giant, big, beautiful white chantrelle. Not often going to see that. Unless you got a secret spot. And this spot here is only semi-secret. People have, used to be my spot, and a couple people have apparently discovered it since then. So also, yeah, right there. You can see what I'm seeing. Another cluster coming up on there underneath that salal and weeds and moss and twigs. So man, you get these in, it's going to be, first of all, a surprise, because this has been all yellow mushrooms in here for me before. But it seems to be the season for the whites, because they are everywhere. Relatively speaking, for chanterelles anyway. Harvested those biddies I just showed you. Take a few steps more. What do I see? We got more fungi, folks. One there. Got a Betty under there if I can find him in the viewfinder. Damn it. Oh yeah, there we go. Those 2 right there. But look, there's more. Look at these guys. Beautiful full-grown mushrooms, not too old. So, man, some of these things probably going about half a pound a piece. And you won't see these white ones on sale in the grocery store that I know of. I've never seen them. They sell yellows at the local store, but either the whites are less known or they just don't like them commercially because they're not as pretty. And you say they always grow dirty too, so by dirty I mean coming up underneath all that needles and dirt and stuff. Don't often pop free and clear of debris like the yellow ones do. Yellow ones, oftentimes you find them growing out in fairly open terrain where they actually hardly need to be cleaned at all. These do, but it's well worth it. They are very good. Highly recommend them. So, how long were we in the woods there, Con?
15 minutes? Not very long.
Oh, it was longer than that. Probably more like half an hour.
Today's such a nice day. It didn't feel like very long.
Yeah, beautiful day today. Sun's out. And actually not too far from the road. Kind of a secret spot. That's not really a secret. I did see some other people were cutting them, but my goodness. This is what we found in about half an hour. So we processed at least twice as many yesterday. Connie's running out of canning jars, and the dryer, well, we'll probably get some more in the dryer. We have to take the ones from yesterday, and we can probably, all those full shelves, we can probably condense it into 1 or 2 shelves and load up some more. And
that's what's for dinner.
Eat some, give some away, and yeah, good times. When these mushrooms are growing, that's when you got to get them.
And this is more the typical trumpet chanterelle shape too. That's what you see in the ID books anyway, but they grow in so many different
a lot of
things, misshaped,
convoluted shapes, especially the white ones, as they're pushing up more often than not, they're pushing up through. It's amazing they can push up through limbs and brush and stuff, but they do it. Oftentimes it splits their caps and whatnot, but it doesn't affect the eating quality. It makes them harder to find, but once you get an eye for them, start looking for that white. You can find them. So good times. September the 24th. Hope I didn't show them too much of that background. Don't want anybody to see our secret spot here. So here we go. Tray full of chanterelles in the dryer. Probably hear the dryer running there. So tomorrow morning there will be a lot more space there. It'll be like 10% mushrooms and 90% space versus what we're looking at now. That's kind of what we do with them, folks. Okay, so that shot of all the mushrooms sitting on the back of the truck is about equivalent. This is a, what is that, a 2-pound peanut, 1-pound peanut butter jar? What is that?
It's one of the biggies. Like,
it's one of the
4
biggies.
pounders, yeah.
Well, that's not 4-pounder, but probably 2-pound. Anyway, after a night in the dryer, or about 24 hours in the dryer, this is what you end up with. All that mass volume. Well, those chanterelles are about 90+% water, so all them giant mushrooms, and they put them in a dryer, take the water out. This is what you end up with. And so my sister told me today that she had heard that not to dry chanterelles because they take so long to reconstitute, and there is a certain amount of truth to that. However, if you're thinking ahead, you can rehydrate them ahead, or like if you're making a soup or something that's going to cook for a long time, these reconstitute no problem. And actually, I really like the texture when they're reconstituted. You know, they're a little bit thick and chewy, but not tough. You know, they're just and they are tasty. So that's one way to do it. So the other option B, which Connie's been working on here, because we had the dryer full, and sometimes he just wants to whip something together in a hurry. He doesn't have time to plan out all that stuff ahead of time. So these are canned chanterelles, and so obviously you can see they have all the liquid in them. We cooked them, I should say Connie cooked them down first, because again they have so much water in them. You cook them down first, take most of the water off of them, and
No, actually I cooked them down and then packed them in the jars using that water that they released. So that water in the jar I had extra after I steamed them in their own juices.
Well, I'm not clear what you're saying there. Maybe sounds like you didn't remove any water at all, so why not just throw them straight into the jars?
Because then you'd only get about 4 mushrooms in here instead of a whole bunch.
All right, well, maybe to you YouTuber fans, that maybe that makes some sense. It makes absolutely 0 sense to me the way it was described, but there you go. And these will be wonderful for any number of cooked dishes over the winter, and vitamin D when we need it, because we're here at tail end of September and our vitamin D is running out. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. If not, or you have any questions, leave some comments below and I'll answer whatever we can about it. Thanks and good luck shrooming.